Banks stop trusting voices. A copied voice can move money, so apps begin asking for a live face, an eye scan, or a vein pattern before they approve important actions. In many hospitals, the first person to read your scan is not a person at all. AI marks suspicious spots on X-rays, CT scans, and MRIs before the doctor checks them. A 13-year insect army comes out of the ground. Millions of cicadas climb trees, fill entire neighborhoods with sound, mate, and die within weeks. A total solar eclipse turns noon into night across North Africa and the Middle East. For a few minutes, cities stop, and the sky becomes the main event. Weather apps become warning systems, not just forecast apps. AI models begin sending earlier alerts for floods, storms, heat waves, and dangerous air quality. A flying robot leaves Earth for Titan. Dragonfly begins its journey toward a moon, where the rain, rivers, and lakes are made from methane, not water. Home robots stop being toys. The useful ones remind older people to take medicine, detect falls, call relatives, and move through the house like quiet assistants. Every viral video needs proof. Important clips begin showing camera source, time, place, and authenticity labels before people believe what they see. Beach warnings become part of summer life. Tourist apps warn people about jellyfish blooms, polluted water, extreme UV, and dangerous sea temperatures. Real animal meat starts looking like a premium product. Supermarkets give more shelf space to lab-grown meat, plant-based meat, and cheaper mixed proteins. Apophis passes closer than many satellites. Earth does not get hit, but for one night, the whole planet watches a real asteroid fly past like a warning shot. Some homes become impossible to insure. After repeated floods, fires, and storms, insurance companies stop renewing policies in the riskiest neighborhoods. Passwords begin to disappear from normal life. Faces, eyes, fingerprints, device keys, and passkeys replace the old forgot my password internet. Polar bears lose hunting days. The ice season becomes shorter, and the animals that depend on sea ice spend more time hungry on land. Europa Clipper reaches Jupiter. It begins scanning Europa, a frozen moon with a hidden ocean that may contain more water than all of Earth's oceans. Flood barriers become normal city furniture. Coastal roads, metro entrances, car parks, and tunnels are rebuilt with gates, pumps, and raised edges. AI begins buying boring things before humans notice they're gone. Detergent, pet food, medicine, and groceries are reordered by home systems automatically. Food security becomes a climate headline. Hunger does not disappear. Droughts, war, fertilizer prices, and heat make food supply the biggest political issue in many regions. Coral maps become emergency maps. Satellite heat alerts show which reefs are bleaching before divers even reach them. Machines search for new antibiotics all night. Robotic labs test chemical combinations that would take humans years to screen by hand. Juice arrives at Jupiter's icy moons. Ganymede, Callisto, and Europa become the most important ocean worlds outside Earth. AI tutors enter homework for real. Students stop asking only classmates or parents because every exercise can be explained instantly on screen. Cities begin grading neighborhoods by water risk. House prices change when maps show flood danger, drinking water stress, or future drought exposure. Animal crossings become engineered infrastructure. Highways get green bridges, tunnels, heat cameras, and warning lights for wildlife movement. Your watch calls the doctor before you do. Heart rhythm, oxygen, sleep, and blood pressure data turn into early warnings instead of simple fitness numbers. Coffee prices become climate news. A bad rainy season, a plant disease, or a heat wave in one country is enough to change prices worldwide. Jellyfish warnings hit tourist beaches. Families check jellyfish maps the same way they check rain, wind, and temperature. AI voices get caller ID. Phones begin showing whether the voice on the line is human, synthetic, cloned, or suspicious. Air conditioning becomes survival equipment. In the hottest cities, cooling a room is treated like access to clean water during heat waves. Drones stop spraying whole fields blindly. They read disease maps and spray only the infected strips of a farm. Ports start lifting themselves. Cranes, warehouses, fuel tanks, roads, and electrical rooms move higher above the waterline. Old movies are rebuilt for new audiences. AI dubbing, face replacement, and restored voices make old scenes look newly filmed. Dragonfly lands in methane country. The aircraft begins flying over Titan's dunes and frozen ground, where the weather is made of hydrocarbons. Fusion experiments become a public scoreboard. News reports stop saying only fusion breakthrough and start showing energy in versus energy out numbers. Penguin colonies fail when sea ice breaks too early. Chicks that cannot swim yet are pushed into water before they are ready. Chocolate becomes a luxury shelf item. Smaller bars, higher prices, and climate warning stories appear beside cacao and sugar news, while the moon gets a supply chain. The story is no longer only landing astronauts. It is water ice, power cables, cargo schedules, and communication towers. Mars becomes the next logistics target. Human landing plans turn into a checklist of fuel, radiation shelters, food systems, and return vehicles. Gene-edited treatments become routine for rare diseases. Hospitals start treating certain genetic conditions by repairing the instruction code inside cells. Heat curfews enter summer calendars. Schools, construction sites, delivery companies, and sports clubs move work away from the hottest hours. Zoos become genetic rescue centers. For some animals, the zoo is no longer entertainment. It is a sperm bank, DNA archive, and emergency breeding center. Truck convoys drive with one human supervisor. Long highways fill with automated freight lines where one person watches several vehicles at once. Insurance maps decide mortgages. Banks check flood, fire, drought, and heat risk maps before they approve a home loan. Cities build public cooling rooms. Libraries, metro stations, schools, and sports halls become official shelters during deadly heat waves. Another cicada army returns. Brood 19 rises after 13 years underground, covering trees, roads, and neighborhoods in a short biological explosion. Mosquito alerts appear on weather maps. Dengue, malaria, and West Nile risk appear beside rain, humidity, and night temperature. Vertical farms move into empty malls. Old shopping centers become LED-lit farms for lettuce, herbs, mushrooms, and high-value crops. Brood 10 returns after 17 years. One of the most famous cicada broods comes back in massive numbers, just as it did generations before. Live translation reaches normal glasses. People look at a speaker and see subtitles floating in their own language. Fish prices follow ocean heat maps. As fish move toward cooler waters, market prices begin reacting to temperature maps, not only fishing seasons. Mars rocks enter Earth's cleanest rooms. If sample return missions succeed, sealed Martian material is opened behind the strictest contamination barriers. Brain implants restore specific lost functions. They do not turn people into superhumans. They help paralyzed patients move, hear, see, or remember better. Plastic cleanup becomes river infrastructure. The main battle moves upstream, where barriers catch plastic before rivers deliver it to the ocean. The house becomes a small power plant. Roof panels, home batteries, smart meters, and electric cars work together as one local energy system. Robots enter disaster zones first. Fires, earthquakes, floods, chemical leaks, and collapsed buildings are scanned by machines before rescuers step in. Air traffic becomes a machine-managed puzzle. AI systems route passenger jets, cargo drones, air taxis, and emergency flights through the same crowded sky. Seaweed farms become food and fuel fields. Long lines of kelp are harvested for animal feed, human food, biofuel, fertilizer, and carbon projects. Wildlife corridors get traffic lights. Sensors detect large animals near roads and trigger warning lights before a car reaches them. Stores show carbon price tags. A product label shows money price, water use, transport distance, and carbon cost on the same screen. School calendars move away from heat peaks. The hottest weeks become remote learning days, night activities, or extended summer breaks. Tap water dashboards become public. Cities show neighborhood-level water quality, pressure, and contamination alerts like traffic maps. Cancer screening becomes a yearly blood test. Some cancers are detected through tiny traces in blood before a tumor is visible on a scan. Camera traps count animals automatically. AI reads millions of forest images and turns invisible wildlife into numbers on conservation dashboards. Roads are built to flood safely. Some streets are designed to carry water during storms instead of pretending floods will never arrive. Drone ambulances carry blood and organs. Hospitals use fast medical drones when traffic is slower than the sky. North America goes dark again. A total eclipse sends millions of people onto roads, rooftops, parks, and deserts to watch the same sky. The Amazon is measured tree by tree. Satellites and drones track fire scars, dry zones, river levels, and forest loss almost in real time. Artificial organs shorten waiting lists. Bioprinted tissue and lab-grown organ parts begin replacing some desperate transplant waits. Outdoor work shifts to dawn and night. Construction, farming and delivery jobs move away from deadly afternoon heat. Some streets are abandoned before the flood. Coastal neighborhoods are cleared, demolished and turned into wetland buffers before the next storm arrives. Airports build heat-proof runways. Hotter days change runway materials, aircraft weight limits, takeoff times and night flight schedules. River animals become the silent extinction story. Freshwater fish, frogs, salamanders and river insects lose habitat faster than most people notice. Salt-resistant crops enter normal farms. Fields damaged by seawater or salty groundwater are planted with crops bred to survive there. Dead celebrities perform as licensed avatars. Old singers, actors and public figures return in ads, concerts and films through controlled digital likenesses. Coral nurseries become underwater hospitals. Divers grow coral fragments in protected frames and transplant them onto damaged reefs. The world nearly reaches 10 billion people. The pressure is felt most in fast-growing cities across Africa and Asia. Women outnumber men at older ages. Men are still slightly more common at birth, but long life shifts the balance toward women in aging societies. Water trucks become normal in dry cities. Tankers, public filling stations and ration schedules become part of summer life. Drug-resistant infections become a top killer. The old miracle of antibiotics turns into a race against bacteria that keep learning. Some wild animals survive only under guard. Rhinos, big cats, great apes and some island birds live with jeeps, collars, armed rangers and breeding records. Coastal defense becomes a permanent bill. Cities spend every year on pumps, seawalls, drainage, raised roads and emergency floodgates. Chocolate and coffee become climate luxuries. Heat, plant disease and unstable rainfall make familiar treats smaller, more expensive and less reliable. Deep sea mining becomes the new oil fight. Battery metals on the ocean floor create a battle between clean energy demand and untouched ecosystems. Many countries become older than young. In aging nations, schools close, while care homes, memory clinics and home assistance services expand. Hotels in orbit become expensive but real. Space tourism is still not normal, but short stays above Earth become a luxury market. Halley's Comet returns to a different Earth. The same comet seen by ancient humans passes over cities, satellites and climate-changed coastlines. Some factories run with the lights off. When robots do the work, factories no longer need human lighting, brakes or shift patterns. Aging becomes the biggest business on Earth. Memory care, artificial joints, home robots, gene therapy and longevity clinics form a giant economy. Wine maps and coffee maps move uphill. Crops that once grew in famous regions shift toward cooler slopes and northern latitudes. Human population reaches its peak. After this point, the story changes from endless growth to aging, shrinking families, and empty schools in some countries. Fishing borders move with the fish. As species follow cooler waters, countries argue over catches that no longer stay inside old maritime lines. Famous waterfronts become museum pieces. Some iconic coast roads and promenades survive only behind glass walls, pumps and raised platforms. Old coastlines become history images. Children compare 2026 maps with their own shorelines and see that the edge of the world moved. Flood basements disappear. Near the coast, underground homes, basement shops and low car parks are removed from building codes. Extinct traits return before extinct animals. Scientists bring back cold-resistant hair, fat storage or disease resistance long before they recreate a lost world. Family memories become searchable archives. People ask a system to find a birthday, a voice, a face, or a sentence from decades of family recordings. The moon becomes a mining and radio base. Ice extraction, solar power fields, and far-side radio telescopes make the moon a working site. Low islands run on pumps and raised roads. Survival depends on protected fresh water tanks, higher causeways, and machines that never stop moving water. Genes become conservation tools. Heat tolerance, disease resistance, and fertility support are used to keep some endangered populations alive. Submarine robots discover new animals every year. Autonomous vehicles map trenches and hot vents where humans never walked. A new species appear on screens. Living past 120 becomes a luxury market. The rich buy cell repair, organ replacement, memory treatment, and constant monitoring before it becomes normal medicine. Every glacier has a digital twin. Glaciers, rivers, forests, reefs, and farms are copied into live 3D models fed by satellites and sensors. Working platforms replace some beach cities. Energy, food, ports, and housing move onto engineered ocean platforms where the old coastline cannot hold. Engineered microbes clean what humans cannot. Designed bacteria are used in sealed systems to break down oil, plastic, heavy metals, and toxic waste. Earth-Moon cargo traffic becomes routine. Machines carry fuel, water, spare parts, instruments, and construction material between Earth orbit and the lunar surface. Safe land becomes the new real estate gold. Places with lower flood, fire, drought, and heat risk become more valuable than luxury coastal addresses. Ocean cores show the damage layer. Sediment samples from the seafloor contain plastic fragments, chemical traces, and heat signatures from our centuries. The planet is the same, but the operating system is different. The continents remain, but coastlines, food, cities, animals, borders, and human life run by new rules. And by the year 2300, none of us will be here to check if this timeline was right. But the choices being made today will still be moving through the oceans, the cities, the climate, and the lives of people we will never meet. The future is not waiting for us. It has already started.